Welcome back to the main Art Spirit studio. I'm filming today here at the Indian Island School. And I'm very excited to teach a lesson that has to do with shapes, and it's a 7th and 8th grade lesson called Beehive Lesson. Regular hexagons are 6-sided polyhedrons with each angle measuring exactly 120 inches. 120 degrees, not inches. And they fit perfectly together to create a useful geometric shape found a lot of times in nature. And in this particular honeycomb, you can see that the bee is making and designing this shape over and over again, exactly the same size, and it's probably the strongest, one of the strongest designs for components to actually fit together and create a very strong structure. So nature has it, and we want to have it too. So what I've given you today, you'll get a packet like this, and it will have about 12 shapes in it. You'll have 12 links. You'll have some tape. You'll need some tape today. I've given you some paint. You'll have a brush as well, and glue, and more tape if you need it. And I'm going to see if I can try to get you a clamp as well. So what we're going to do for today in the first step is we're going to take all of these different size pieces, and they're all the same length, and they were donated from Owen Gray and Sons, or Gray Owen and Sons in Brewer. They've been in business for a long, long time, and they're an amazing cabinet making company. Just want to put out a plug for them. Thank you so much for that. And they've given these to us, and we're going to make and decide today upon a shape, whether it's going to be a triangle or a square or whatever shape you're going to make. You need to first make that decision in terms of building a sculpture that has that shape reoccurring over and over and over again. Even though the shapes are different thicknesses, even though the material that you're working with is different colors, you're going to actually try to make it as consistent as possible. When you come back, I'll show you how to do it. All right, so as I look at my pieces, one of the things that I'm really enjoying is finding letters and numbers on the wood that actually marks what the woodworker is trying to remember for a cut or a length or even other information, but it's interesting. And so I'm going to incorporate even pieces of wood that are really rough and then smooth perfectly and then rough again. I really like the different pieces. So if you have unusual pieces, sometimes it makes your sculpture very interesting, so don't be afraid to use those pieces. All right, so what I decided I would do is a triangle. So I'm going to start with these three, and I'm going to take a look at what I can actually do to put maybe these three together. Or maybe I need to do more of something like this and put it like that. So what I want to do and what I'm after is trying to get all three of these shapes to make one size triangle in the middle. I'm going to have a little bit of overlap too. So that's what I'm going to do, is have an overlapping triangle. You're also going to get some glue in a little cup like this. And so what I do is you can put the glue down like that, a little bit here and a little bit on your piece. And then I'll put some here as well. And I'll put some here. Like that. And the popsicle stick is really good for this. You will have a brush in your packet, but don't use that brush because you want to use that for paint, and if that gets any glue on it and it dries, you will find it very, very difficult to paint with. And then you're going to take your tape. Now I gave you a brand new tape, and so we're going to find the end of it. Now if you have clamps at home, it might be even better to clamp this, but I think it'd be good just to tape it like this, just to temporarily tape it. You don't want to tape it to the point where it can't breathe and the glue can't dry, so you don't want a lot of tape, but just sort of tape it so that it stays and doesn't move a whole lot. Now the next idea is to build right on top of this and continue with the idea of the same size. So I'm still keeping with the same size of the triangle. Okay, it's been about 2 hours and things have dried pretty well. I'm going to take all of the tape off. And removing the tape is a pretty important step. It does hold your artwork temporarily, but it's never supposed to be on there forever. And if you leave it on overnight, sometimes the gum from the tape will transfer onto the wood and it may discolor the wood a little bit. Great thing about the glue you're using though, that's going to be very transparent. And what I'm going to do with these is I want to construct with them. So I can construct with them by, kind of experimenting with how they would look if I do it this way. But I have another idea too. You can actually try that. You can actually try to get them to balance and then, try to glue them together. Or you can actually build from the bottom up. Now where this is lower than this area, I'll put the thicker one here and the thinner one here. And I thought what I would do is create a star pattern. So I think what I'm going to do is just that. Now we got a wonderful donation from Home Depot. We got these wonderful Husky 2-inch clamps, and each one of you will actually get one of these. And for this demonstration, I'll probably use a bunch to show you what you can do over time. So it's going to take you a little longer to put these together if you have just one clamp. You want to back your clamp all the way back. And what we're looking for is one firm contact with another piece of wood from the other object. And then the others can be glued as well, but they don't have to be clamped. I also got a little more glue and my trusty popsicle stick. So each one of you should have at least 2 glue. If you don't, then get a hold of me and I'll get you some. And we're going to pencil this when you get it the way you want it. And I'm going to glue it there too. So I have 2 really good spots to put the glue. Right there. And right here, a lot right there. So it's going to be like that. And my connection point will be right here. And this is where you'll bring that down to back them off. Now this next step, the final step, you're going to want to put some newspaper down, because as you begin to look at how your sculpture is actually going to stand up, what it's going to look like, that kind of thing, then you can start to think about what areas you would like to paint. And I like this whole area in here, and you also will want to investigate different negative space shapes that you're going to have within your sculpture that you're going to create. Now I've given you some paints, and you should have white, red, yellow, and blue, the 3 primary colors, and white. As you know, the primary colors you can't mix together. And what I'm going to do, I've given you one brush, and you can lay this down. What I'm going to do is start to mix colors, and this is what I really love to do. And you can take time to do this. As you paint your sculpture, actually be thoughtful about what it is that you're painting. Don't paint the whole thing, and try to use different colors and also mix. For example, yellow might be too thick or even too thin. Actually, I can see the comics right through that. So if I add white to it, it makes it a little brighter and it makes it thicker, so I don't need 20 coats. And so half of your sculpture should be actually made of wood and should be the exposed beauty of the wood itself. You can also add a very thin layer. This is a really nice brush. I gave you a brand new Bristol brush, which is made for this type of rugged surface, so it's excellent for painting wood. So once you start to paint your sculpture, it takes on a whole other thing. Now, if you don't want to have to wash your brush a lot, one of the things I like to do is start with the lightest tone first and then add a little bit of red so I can make it into a pink. So my next color here will be a kind of like a pinkish color, but I'm going to add more red to it. And I'm going to make it substantially red. So think about your color wheel, the color spectrum in terms of what are the opposites on the color wheel and how you can make one color seem brighter than they really are. Really, red and pink is so close to yellow that it's really not doing a lot for the color interaction here. So color interaction is the other thing that makes your sculpture look really great. Try to paint as close as you can to the edges. This is a really good brush that'll get you a really nice edge to be able to do that. And then when I finally get into blue and I can add it to the red, I can get a really nice kind of, I think I can anyway, purple-violet color. And mix right on the paper. Now I haven't even washed the brush yet, but at some point I'm definitely going to have to. But you let your creation and your creative, innovative mind just take over here at this point and paint the things you really think need to be painted. This blue is doing a lot to make this yellow a lot brighter than it really is. So this is kind of a abstract. The subject matter is having to do with the same type of shape repeated over and over again, even though they're different size and different thicknesses, they're the same length, and creating a design out of that. So it's the beehive lesson. You may want to go from dark to light too. I'm going to go a little lighter up here on the very, very top. And there's something about beautiful wood and then also painted wood in contrast. So you can see my sculpture is starting to come alive here a little bit. If you really want your colors to be super solid, then you have to go back in and at least put 2 or 3 layers because the wood is going to soak the paint right up. So I'm going to continue to paint, and I can't wait to see what you did. Make sure that you get a hold of me, send me a photograph of your work so that I can grade it. Or if you're just out there and you're not a student of mine and you're doing this too, I'd love to hear from you as well. Thank you for making art with me today. See you soon.